Hi friends, this is Terry Squires with today's Nashville, This is Faith. I sat down with Ian Flanagan, third runner-up for The Voice, Team Blake. He only had $90 in his pocket. You won't want to miss his story of faith and his music. Let the Lord guide you moment by moment, day by day. What can $90 in the bank buy you? Ian Flanagan's last gig before the pandemic hit the world was to audition on NBC's The Voice. Little did he know where that audition would land him and how his years of sobriety would help others through his faith and music. This is his story. This is today's Nashville. This is Faith. Ian, I am so excited to sit down with you. You are my first Voice contestant. Welcome to today's Nashville.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
You know, I was reading that you only had $90 in your bank account when you took the leap of faith. Let's go back and tell me about it.
Yeah, so I have been I've been touring since I was 17, one way or another, different vehicles. And during 2019, I was coming off a run from Texas, and I had just gotten to Nashville, where I was living at the Opry trailer parks over there, because I was living out of a Winnebago.
Now, were you with your family, or were you married then, or?
No, I was just traveling around, and basically, I showed up after a really wonderful show after Austin City Limits. I was fortunate enough to open for Bob Schneider out there, and I pull into Nashville, and it's instantly when the pandemic is just running rampant, and there was a tornado that hit East Nashville. It was just so many horrible things were going on, and I was losing gigs every day. Like, I'd wake up to an email of 5 gigs just canceling because everything was shutting down, and my bank account was shutting down too. So I had one last gig that was booked for me, and it was just an open mic at the Mercy Lounge here in Nashville. And I really only had about 80, 90 bucks, and I didn't want to spend the gas money to go, but at the time it was, you got to finish every gig. And when I showed up, it ended up being a scouting opportunity for The Voice. So I performed with the band, and they asked me to be an alternate for the show after my performance. And I basically said,
what did you think?
Yes, I lost every show, so I will definitely do it.
So you grew up, did you know you were always wanted to be a music artist?
Yeah, since I was 11, I've always wanted to be a songwriter. That was kind of my thing. My mom and I, we used to make up songs every day. That was kind of our thing. We would just rhyme random words. And when I was a kid, the acoustic guitar, making songs, that was all I ever wanted to do. And I'm from a really artistic area, so that...
Now, where did you grow up?
So I'm from upstate New York, Saugerties, New York, and we're right next to Woodstock, New York, which seems to be the only town people kind of know up there. And just really, really heavy with artists and that whole style of life, the whole, starving artist thing, all that, they support it really heavily. So for me growing up, I had a lot of local idols, really, that I would kind of admired and wanted to be like when I grew up.
Was it just you and your mom, or?
No, me and my mom and dad. So
okay.
I'm an only child, but.
Okay.
But
so they supported your dreams.
Yeah, and they had the best kind of support. Where when I had crazy ideas to just leave and kind of travel and test out the world, that was the kind of support they gave me. Because I've met a lot of musicians in my time that didn't have that kind of family support to go off and chase wild dreams. And I think that's probably one of the best kinds of support you could ever have.
What made you go into country music? Who was your, idol, or who influenced you?
That's a great question. Honestly, back in my hometown, Saugerties, I was fortunate enough to play with the Paul Luke Band, which up there, they're a huge deal. Opened up at Woodstock, and they've probably been together for 40 years. and they're a country rock band up there. And they kind of showed me the ropes of gigging when I was younger and took me under their wing. But for me, I honestly started off in the folk world. So upstate up there and around the country, I would start off at like Falcon Ridge Folk Festival. In Texas, I used to do Kerrville Folk Festival, Dripping Springs Songwriting Festival. And in that world, the song is king all the time. So country to me was no different. And as far as I'm concerned, country music is the genre that really puts the story first. So it was kind of just a natural thing to kind of find my way here.
So let's go back to The Voice. So
Yeah.
that night, they said they wanted you to audition for The Voice. What was going through your mind?
Oh, so much. You know, I've never really watched too much of the show. We all know about it, and I've seen the clips, but I didn't think that it was for me because I'm a baritone and a kind of a raspy voice, and I had only done my own original work all my life because I've never really covered artists. And I just figured, I know this is a show all about cover songs and doing your interpretation, but I was so far behind on my knowledge of performing them that I didn't think it was necessarily for me. And when I got on, I found out it was kind of the opposite, where I was allowed to reinterpret everything, and it was a lot of fun. But my mind was racing, basically saying, we're in the pandemic, I can't even leave the state right now. What's this look like? So I was very grateful.
What happened after that, though? I mean, when you got there, or first of all, how did you get there, and what was it like to just walk out on that stage?
Oh, it was crazy. It's a long process from starting to get those calls to getting on the stage, you know, maybe 2 months or so. And I remember picking a song at that time. It was Colder Weather by Zach Brown Band. And I just always loved that song. So when I saw it, I was like, I gotta try this one. Because also I was living on the road and all that. So when I got up on the stage, you're waiting behind this huge band for, you know, hours. And when you go up, it's hard to explain because it's such a big moment. And then when you get up, it's only a minute. So it goes super quick that you don't really even remember it. But I remember feeling my mind was don't trip and start on time, and the rest will happen. So for me, I was
What were
very
the nerves
focused.
like?
Yeah, they're good. They were solid sized nerves. But really my thing was it's very dark, and if I don't trip and I can start the song on time, I'll be okay.
Well, the judges' seats are turned around.
Yeah, they're turned around, and we were in the pandemic, so there was no audience. It was just the chairs.
Okay.
So you have a ton of production staff around you, and then you basically have to hit your mark. That's it.
So what happened? Who turned their chair around first?
Blake. So me and Blake went the whole way.
Did anybody else turn their chairs
No,
around?
it was just Blake for me. Blake's always had my back when it came to that show.
So you were Team Blake.
Yep, from day one.
Tell me what that was like. I mean, the moment he turned around, what went through your head?
To be honest, I didn't have any expectations, because when you're there for a month before you perform. The other artists, everybody's so good that for me, I always kept a bag packed. I was like, you know, I'm not gonna get any kind of delusions of grandeur here. But the thing is, he turned around and he was one of the best guys I could have worked with.
We're going to talk more about Blake, Team Blake, and where this has taken you. You've been through so much through this journey, and we're going to talk about it when we come back. Ian, we were talking about working with Team Blake and on The Voice, and you were talking earlier about only having $90. How did you support yourself these months being on The Voice?
You know, it was, I had a different strategy in life at that time. I was living out of a 24-foot Winnebago, and my strategy to break as an original artist back in the day was I would tow a Honda Accord, and that Honda had a whole PA system in it. So I would park the Winnebago at a state park or a trailer park across America, and I would work there for part-time for a free stay. So I had the ability to kind of live at a basic level by working for them. And then I would gig within 400 miles of wherever I was parking. So that's kind of how I was living anyway. And when I was on the show, I was getting enough per diem and stuff to kind of keep life going.
Keep focused on.
But it's a hard thing for a lot of people, especially me. I was traveling full time and didn't have much to take care of, but a lot of people had full careers and houses, and it can be very, very difficult for people.
What was it like to work with Blake Shelton?
They don't show a lot of the hang or the work and the guidance behind off the camera, but I would say for me, since he's probably helped hundreds of people, for me, Blake was really key at that point in my life because he kept urging me to just lean into my authenticity. Those shows that you almost feel like the highest note is like the better song or something. And being a low, raspy guy, he just really encouraged me to kind of lean in to who I am and just embrace it and help me with song selections. And that kind of guidance, still I take it with me into the studio today. A lot of the things that he would show me were really just kind of like delivery. And that's one of the most important things as an artist. And he's a master at it.
How many times did he work with you during the week? I mean, you see on the show that they come in and out, but was it a lot or was it just a few times?
It works with in different ways every week. So some weeks we'd have a couple meetings where it was on camera or rehearsals, and then we would have maybe a studio time and then some stage stuff. So it really varied, but probably like 3 or 4 times a week.
For several months.
Yeah, I think we were on the show for about a half a year. So we also had a lot of quarantining back in the day. So
what was it like to compete with the other artists? Were you able to meet them, or did you just kind of stay focused on yourself?
No, we did. We did a lot of, you get tested all the time, so everybody's good. And really working with the other artists, it's much less of a competition because we're all in it together. And you kind of get forced into creating this little family. So I still have some of my best friends there from that show. I just got off a 2-week tour with Jim Ranger, who is on the same team as me the entire time.
Ian, where did you finish in The Voice?
So all said and done, I got 3rd place on season 19.
Were you surprised?
I was shocked every day. I'm telling you, I had a bag packed every night because when you do get off, you got to leave pretty early the next day, and I wasn't going to pack it at 5 in the morning. But
so they just ship you out when you're done?
Pretty much. Everybody's got a different trajectory. Some people live out there too. But for me, I was just a fan of everybody on the show, and all these singers are just so incredible that for me it was more about the experience and learning on this stage, and the band leaders were so amazing to me and just teaching me. So every day I was just excited to be there. But taking 3rd, I didn't think was possible. So I will use me as an example for anybody thinking about doing the show. You should try. Just give it a shot.
So what were the feelings that you had every time you survived another round?
I was definitely shocked. I remember a few moments being like, I can't believe this is happening, that I'm progressing through this show. But honestly, I just stayed grateful because what I'm trying to do is be as authentic as I can. And if people like that, then I'm just going to continue doing it,
So what's life like now after The Voice?
After The Voice, I feel very fortunate to where I got back on the road the next night, and I was in Orlando, and then I was out in Texas for a while, and I got a call from Reviver Records, and they wanted to do a single with me. So Blake was kind enough to feature on it. So I released a song called Grow Up. Blake featured on it, and we met at Starstruck here in Nashville, and he came through and sang amazingly, and that turned into a record deal.
So tell me the premise behind Growing Up.
Well, the song Grow Up is really just about celebrating that you're never going to grow up and you're never going to lose that kind of spark, that energy.
And are you writing all your songs now?
These days, so I just released 13 songs on a brand new album, The Man My Mama Raised, and I wrote 11 of them. So mostly, but my thing as a writer and an artist, if I hear a song that beats one of mine, I'm going to have to cut it, Best song wins for me.
Tell me about the man that the mama raised.
Oh, so this whole record, it's a little heavy because, my mother, who was an angel on earth, she passed away just over a year ago. And she was my tether to the world in a sense. And this whole record is a compilation of songs. Some are fun and some are lighthearted, but the majority of it is kind of different chapters of my life and from a perspective of the man I've come to be, which is, a lot of her doing. And the song, The Man My Mama Raised, is all about hoping to be that man that I know she tried to raise.
Where is your faith? Tell me about your faith. Is your faith in your music?
My faith is always in music. It's been a guiding force for me, and I've always felt some kind of connection where it's bigger than me, and it's a gift to give, and it's a gift to receive it. Because every time I've even been at a concert, I feel better. It's like a medicine. But my faith in my life has been stronger than I ever realized, but quiet. And I didn't realize it was kind of pulling me through all these chapters of my life. So for me, I always need to connect and get back. I got sober in my life almost 10 years ago now.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So you had a issue with drinking?
Yeah, I started out in the dive bar scene when I was 17, and you kind of get paid in alcohol, free tabs. So for me, I had just created a unhealthy relationship with alcohol since I was a kid, because half the time I'd be out at these bars and getting paid that way. And by the time I was 24, I just wasn't healthy anymore. So I chose to get sober, and the way I did it was fishing. I'm from a beautiful area in upstate New York, got great trout fishing. And me and a buddy of mine, Keith, he's like a brother, we fished every day. And we just distanced ourselves from that whole world. And without that time, I don't know where I'd actually be. But that's kind of where I connect with God, and my faith is out in nature.
So, and did he help you get through that? I mean, a lot of people have to go into recovery. You didn't have to do that.
No, I did. I checked myself into a rehab facility when I was 24. So I put a lot of faith in that. I was ready to go. I was ready to do it and get clean, and I was in a bad way. So for me to kind of come through the other side, it was, if I could do it, I really believe anybody could do it. But it's something that I still try to talk about as openly and as much as possible today, because we all have somebody close to us, whether you know it or not, that's going through something like that.
We're going to talk about what God is doing in your life and how you're helping people to get sober again. And we're going to listen to one of your new songs when we come back.
Thank you.
Ian, you have a passion to help others to get sober. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so for me, getting sober was the best thing that ever happened in my life. It's given me a whole purpose, in a sense, and has led me to my family, my beautiful twin girls, and my wonderful wife, and all these things that wouldn't be there. And I'm a part of an organization in upstate New York. It's called Hope Rocks, and it is one of the only music-related festivals and shows that is all about destigmatizing mental illness, addiction, and trying to bring hope to people and give resources to people that need to get help and need to get better. So we've been running this for years now. And the people that are working it right now are some of the kindest, hardworking people you're gonna find, and their hearts are just in the right place. So we do a couple shows a year, and every year we try to get a certain amount of people some help and resources.
It's difficult, you're right, for people who have addiction to get help, because a lot of times they don't have insurance.
Yeah.
What kind of hope do you give them, or do you have anybody that has come to you and said thank you, or any stories of anybody that has just reached out to you?
Sure. I mean, I've had a few friends over the years that I've made that help get into treatment, and that's more on the personal side. Just talking. Sometimes one story from somebody that's doing okay is all somebody needs to take that step, because there's also fear involved. An addiction, it's like a weird love connection, because it's part of your life. It's almost part of your identity. And the window that you have that somebody has the courage to go get clean is not long. So really what it is, it's about giving people that hope by other people's testimonies. And being in a safe space where everybody around you is similar, and you don't feel like the odd man out, that you're going through this private struggle. And a lot of that destigmatizing is hoping that we can normalize those conversations for people. Because if you don't have the talks, you don't tend to get the help.
Did somebody talk to you?
A lot of people talk to me. I needed a lot of conversations. But
who was the person who just really got through to you and said, you know what, Ian, it's time?
Well, you know, in my past, I would say that it ended up being myself because of a few instances that I had. And I was in a bad car wreck one time. And that was the moment where I was like, you know, I'm never going to amount to anything if I end up killing myself by being an idiot. And that was the moment where I would say, you know, God showed me a very, very serious sign, and I took it. And besides that, I've had a few mentors that lessened the guilt you have. And a lot of times it's about having somebody come into your life. And honestly, part of the Paul Luke Band was that, where I remember getting out of rehab, and they picked me up and we drove around, and they made everything feel all right and just told me other stories that made me feel good. So they were great friends at that time.
Tell me about your wife.
My wife, Kelsey, she is just an amazing, beautiful spirit. She's the kindest woman I've ever met in my life.
When do you meet her?
I met her 2.5, 3 years ago.
Okay.
We met at a music festival, and I think we met, and she was living in Texas and I was living in Nashville, and I would fly out to see her, and it was like, we are making some expensive dates. You should just come live with me. So I actually convinced her to come to Nashville. So now we're living here together, raising kids.
And tell me about your two beautiful little twins.
I got twin girls, Callie and Lennon. They are 9 months right now at the house, working on crawling right now. It's amazing. Every time I look at them, I'm just like, we made these. We made these two people.
Wait till they start walking.
I know. Then we'll
start
be like,
getting
we
into
made
everything.
These.
Yeah, we raising. Wait till they get to be teenagers.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about your song that you're going to sing.
Okay, yeah. So I just released a brand new record, The Man My Mama Raised, and one of my favorite songs off of it is possibly the longest title of a country song in the history. I don't know, but it's called The Words I Never Heard an Old Man Say. And for me, in my story, when we were younger, me and my Wilder crew, we were like, oh, man, I don't know if we'll see 30, you know? And something about writing this song, I wrote it with my buddy and producer, John Stone, but we always thought that like to become an old man would be such a gift. And there's a lot of wisdom in life, say a grandfather, or just anybody who's lived and gotten this far in life. And there's a ton of songs about the guidance and the wisdom you're told, but this song is about all the wisdom that you've seen and didn't have to be told.
Will you sing it for me?
Sure. I'll sing you a piece of it, I guess, right? Life's a gift, life's a chance, life's a gamble, life's a dance. One man's graveyard is another's promised land. Life's a blessing, life's a curse, never get your money's worth. When I'm down and need some help, I remind myself, I never heard an old man say, wish I worked another day, get a little less fishing, left loved ones unforgiving, got grudges and regrets still laying on my chest. Wish I never got down on that knee, never heard her say yes. Life's a gift, life's a gamble, and I live every day by the words I never heard an old man say. Say less and listen more. Love hard but don't keep score. No one's the bad guy on their side of the war. All it takes is faith and hope. When you break, you won't stay broke. When I'm down and need some help, I remind myself, I never heard an old man say, wish I never learned to pray, never lived for
throttle, or dusted off that bottle. Wish I made less memories. Never kept mama's recipes. Never bought the land, never built the house, or laid these roots down. Life's a gift, life's a gamble, and I live every day by the words I never heard an old man say.
I love it. It's beautiful, and it's from your new album.
For my brand new album, yes.
What's the name of it again?
This song is called The Words I Never Heard an Old Man Say.
And your album is?
The Man My Mama Raised.
The Man My Mama Raised. Ian, thank you so much for being with me today, sharing your life, sharing your story. I'm sure it's going to bless so many people.
Hey, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you. My friend, are you struggling with addiction? This is the time to seek help, lay it down, give it to Jesus. He will change your life if you trust Him. This is today's Nashville. This is Faith.